We'll call the meeting for July 10th, Select Board meeting to order. Neil, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need to approve the following minutes. The Board of Selectmen work session for June 26, 2017.
I move that we approve the minutes for the work session on June 26th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The Board of Selectmen's non-public work session, June 26, 2017.
Make a motion that we accept those minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the Board of Selectmen, June 26, 2017 meeting.
Move that we approve those as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Announcements. The Select Board will meet on the following regular meetings: 6 p.m. Monday, July 24th, and August the 14th, 2017. Work review sessions prior to the regular meeting will start at 5 p.m. All of the above meetings will be held in the Town Hall unless otherwise posted. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify the Town Hall before 12 p.m. the Friday before the scheduled meeting. New members are needed for Planning Board and Zoning Board positions. If interested, please submit a letter of intent to the Plymouth Select Board's office, 6 Post Office Square, Plymouth, New Hampshire, 03264. Is Steve going to be with us tonight on the purchase? No. Okay. All right, so we can have that.
I'll do the purchase order.
Okay.
He discussed that with you at the last meeting. That's the only vendor that we can go to because it's their equipment. And that's the yearly maintenance that we budget for. That's been approved in your budget.
Okay. Do we have any discussions on the purchase order? It's for $13,258.75.
Make a motion that we approve the expenditure for the Plymouth Police Department. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, see nothing else. Is Juliet here?
Jules?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right.
Sorry. Take a look at this. So this is a proposed change to the policy manual, which hasn't been done since 2010. And it's just basically 3 things where it's technical updates, verbiage as just changes from PBCAM to PBTV and so forth. And just one other thing where I'm rephrasing the programming priorities for the station to reflect how it really is at the station, and what serves the community the best. So I just, if you look at your page here, this is sort of like a summary, and I don't know if we can go through the whole thing, or we could just hit the highlights, but basically, like, under where it says programming, I've just made some housekeeping changes. Like it says here, unfortunately it's not numbered, but
Non-resident.
non-residents, and I kind of highlighted as best I could. Non-residents, and I want to add residing in the Penny Baker area. Instead of just, occasionally we get people like from, believe it or not, Massachusetts, or like Laconia, or just any random place, and I'm not really sure why they want to use the station, but it just creates a little bit of a problem. So just to clarify that, and then if you flip 2 pages under letter F, scheduling priorities, just to simplify that, because there's so much verbiage, and just to specify, I think I put under there something about
Are you eliminating 3 through 5? Is that what you're doing?
yeah, I'm just, because I think it's pretty self-explanatory what the government channel is. Just going to be municipal town meetings and school board meetings. I'm just going to phrase it simply like that. I'm trying to simplify this document so it's a little less daunting as well for people. They tend to go through it and think it seems a little bit official and bureaucratic. I get that impression. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit more user-friendly as well, so they don't just discount it and not read it, because it's so technical too in some respects.
The second section under F, are you eliminating that entire priority for scheduling?
Yeah, well,
Eliminating-
so I'm gonna eliminate that, but I'm going to put in, if you look in your summary section, change it to something along the lines of what I wrote here. The first priority of the public access channel is to produce and to assist others to produce community-focused programming, examples, any event hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, Historical Society, Rotary, Music Festival, nonprofit news events, high school sports, legislative updates, educational programming. Those are all so valuable to the community, and what we end up doing anyway. So, just a place, just so people know that that is our priority, is to produce things that are that valuable for the community, as opposed to occasionally people have quasi-businesses that they want, to be honest, that they want us to promote, that they say maybe aren't technically businesses yet, but basically they want us to drive traffic to their websites and use our production facilities to do so. So that's not a big priority, I think, for the station, unless you all have a different opinion of that. And I'm interested to know what you think, but that's kind of how I see it was going. Whereas 10 years ago in public access TV, it was kind of like free for all, anybody record anything. And now that YouTube is there, anybody can have their own YouTube channel and Facebook and all that. I think it's more appropriate for us to film things that are most beneficial to the community. But I'm curious to know where you
Agreed.
all stand.
I agree with that. Juliet.
Any other thoughts about it?
You can't charge somebody, if it was like a business that would like to film something, put it on,
No, we can't. No.
okay.
I think it's against our policies, and because we're a government entity,
Right.
and then it gets into then are we a production company for businesses? So,
Right.
but we do, Chamber of Commerce events. We're happy to help businesses in that way when it's a focus on the community through the Chamber of Commerce or some other organization like that, as opposed to
Do
just.
you film the chamber's meetings?
No, but we have filmed Taste of Newfound and such events like that.
Nonprofits.
nonprofit. We also have like nonprofit news day. We went to like the sheriff there and highlighted, Jessica Dutel helped us with that, and we went and interviewed like every single nonprofit there, and so that sort of thing. Or it's more, again, community, but not like we're here just to promote one particular individual or agenda, which we still can do. Not saying that that's gonna change, but it's not a priority,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we have all these other groups that are vying for our assistance.
Right.
So do we prioritize or do we not? That's the question.
Prioritize.
Okay.
My
Thank
opinion.
you.
I wanted to ask you a question on the water and sewer. I know sometimes you're there and sometimes you're not there. How is, at their meetings to televise them for people?
Yeah.
How does that work? You just don't have somebody that can go out, or?
Well, I
or
mean, yeah, lately, the town of Ashland has asked us to film their school board meetings as well. But we almost always are at the water and sewer meetings, but occasionally there'll be just, I think that last one time, there was, because of a holiday, also, meetings were moved to Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then it was just like zoning board or water and sewer.
Oh, okay, all right.
High school board meeting or water and sewer, I'm not sure. We don't have the students either in the summer, so.
Okay. I didn't know if we had a schedule of what our priority meetings were, like the select board, because I know sometimes school board meetings are at the elementary school are on Monday night,
Yeah,
and
they're also on Tuesday nights, yeah.
Yeah, I think the high school is Tuesday.
So, I kind of take a look at the agenda sometimes too, and I'll call them and ask them if there's anything that interesting going on at the water and sewer if I have to make a decision.
Does the university still have its own television production?
They have a media department. And we do have the students there during the year. They volunteer with us.
Okay, any other comments by the select board?
Do you need a motion?
Well, are you going to go ahead and make the changes and then give us a finished product, or
Yes.
are you, because I haven't really had a chance to look at everything you're striking
Okay.
or anything.
Yes, I can make the changes and change it back to
Yeah,
post.
I mean, just
The only other-
looking at it, real quick, I don't really have any questions with it, but I'd still like to take a look at,
Absolutely. I invite,
maybe if you could go ahead and make your changes, and then, at the next select board,
okay.
we can, whenever you get it done, if we can get it distributed to the select board, and then we can have a chance to look at it and discuss it and
Closer.
approve it at the next meeting.
Absolutely, and if you have any other thoughts about it, let me know,
Yeah.
please.
I'll take a look at it
The only other thing I have
tomorrow.
is to simplify there's a lot in here, like 20 years ago when they first started drafting some of this, they were
They probably got it off a
really
website.
afraid of obscenity being broadcast accidentally or on purpose. And so there's so much verbiage in here about laws to do with pornography and obscenity. I just wanted to simplify it to no obscenity and just keep it extremely simple, because they have appendixes in here and references to RSAs and lots of definitions, and I don't think that's necessary.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. Yeah, if you could do that, and whenever you have it ready, have them put it in our box, and we can pick it up and take a look at it, and we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting. Move it over.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, we have that. Unfinished business, the Energy Commission. I would like to, at this time, allow the board to make comments. Personally, I got a letter from the attorneys on, the lease, different things, and I do not see where personally I could support that at this time to make a commitment for the town. And again, that is my opinion, and what we will do is have a motion presented, and at that point take a vote. But does anyone on the Energy Commission have any comments or anything they wanna share?
Well, with all due respect, I guess I'm just we're not quite clear. We've been engaged with the select board. I actually looked through some minutes, select board minutes from 2015, right through this year. We've been engaged in this conversation. I'm not sure what's missing for the board. And it's not clear to the PEC whether this letter from the attorney says I understand it's a proprietary letter, but we're just not clear what this.
Oh, could you go to the microphone, please?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Yeah, anyone speaking should go to the microphone.
Thank you.
And state your name, Grace.
Would you like me to start all over?
No.
Grace Garvey. So yeah, we're trying to figure out what the stall is and what we met with Mike and with Brian. There are a number of towns who've gone through the PPA process: Warner, Lancaster, Hanover, Nelson, Sandwich, Fremont, Seabrook, Hopkinton, the list goes on. We're just not quite sure what's missing for the board. I mean, what we'd like to do is get a determination. I know there's been a question about whether we need to go to town meeting in March. My understanding is that the public hearing on the 26th, the last select board meeting, was to satisfy a process that was that the board felt was
The impression,
needed.
I mean, it should require, as I think I'm right, that it would require, 2 public meetings, and then the board could, make a decision and vote on it, which is what we will do tonight.
So we need a second public meeting, it sounds like.
Yes, I thought it was going to be scheduled. I didn't see and had some questions, and then in the work session, we knew the Energy Commission was coming back tonight. So we felt we could put this under, because it didn't get on the agenda. They didn't get informed in time, so we just put it in under unfinished business, which was a carryover because, again, at the last meeting we discussed, and Mike and Brian went to the meeting and met with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'm just looking at your minutes. It was due to be discussed tonight anyway, correct?
yeah. So
So I guess we're wondering about processes at this point. Are we talking about scheduling a second public hearing to satisfy?
This would basically, I think, what we need to do tonight is, if the board has any comments they would like to make, and then somebody needs to make a motion to approve this or disapprove it. Or, move it to a March meeting. And I don't know whether, Mike, go ahead.
I think what's different from when we met for that first public hearing is that we didn't have any determination from the town attorney. And since that letter has been available to the board, that is kind of made the process of being two public hearings that the select board could kind of handle. I think there are a number of us that now feel that if you would like to pursue it, it's something that really needs to go in front of the townspeople rather than being left to a vote to 5 people in the town.
So just to be clear, you're saying the attorney used the word determined.
He weighed in on it.
There was a determination.
He weighed in on it. And I think that.
He weighed in on it.
Yeah.
Bill?
And I may have been either misinformed or just, I felt or I thought that that singular meeting that we had would have been the town requirement, the legislative body requirement that would not necessitate, a town meeting in March. And I thought we had done a similar process for a different aspect of an item that we went forward with, but I guess that's not the case. And
So is this second public, I'm still a little foggy about, or should we schedule, at the discretion of the board, should we schedule a second hearing?
It's your discretion to schedule a second. Or vote tonight without having a second one.
Yeah.
But that's,
Neil?
yes, Grace.
I suggest we have a second public hearing so that it's clear, and then vote on it.
Okay.
is that a motion, or
How does the, yeah.
I
you
move
have a
that
motion?
we have a second public hearing.
I'd second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would.
Aye. Mike?
I'm waiting for the.
Discussion. You have to have discussion, John.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you seconded it, Bill.
I did second it, and, but I think Mike was waiting for any opposed from your mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Those that oppose?
Well, I guess I would be opposed only because I don't want to go against what the town attorney has weighed in on. So that's why I would be opposed.
Well, okay, so we have 4. Well, I guess you're voting no,
Yes. To having a second hearing, yeah.
so it's 4-1, so we'll have a second hearing, which we will schedule. And at that point, the select board will make a determination.
Okay. Is there,
All right?
I noticed Maggie's hand was up, I don't know. Maggie Mumford's also in the PEC.
Maggie Mumford, resident of Plymouth. Just a question about if it can be spoken. I was getting a mixed message about whether or not the attorney was just addressing the process,
He was.
or whether or not he was also addressing concerns about the PPA.
John, I
don't
would
thi-
recommend that you read the letter from the attorney.
I have the letter. Where is it? Right here. I probably need more specific information about the particulars of the solar project before rendering definite advice on this project. However, here are some general rules. Ordinarily, town expenditures need to fall within the purposes that are set forth in MS-7 DRA budget form. In addition, multi-year lease contracts for out-of-the-ordinary expenses. This solar contract sounds like a 20-plus lease program agreement ordinarily require the approval of the town meeting. Under the theory that one town meeting doesn't have the authority to bind successive town meetings unless the terms of the agreement have been disclosed to the voters. I also understand this will involve the lease of town property to the contractor who is constructing the solar array on town property. Multi-year leases of town property beyond 1 year require town meeting approval. RSA 41-11, colon 11-A. Town meeting can authorize the selectmen to enter into leases of up to 5 years without further authorization of town meeting. But even with such authority, all leases of town property for a term 6 years or more require approval by town meeting, which would be in March. So if we consider these statutory restrictions on expenditures and leasing, it is likely that a project of this magnitude, even if supported with a substantial grant, will still be an undertaking that is going to have to comply with one of these statutory requirements. As a result, it is likely this solar project will have to be presented to town meeting for approval before it can be undertaken.
So is that something, I've been involved in, actually for about 10 years, trying to get solar project going. And so I'm very familiar with the PPA process, very familiar with the net metering process, group net metering, and it's been very clear that you have to put in applications if there is even a chance that you want to do it, or else you're going to be left out of the queue. And so I think that's part of the concern, is that if we're left out of the queue and can't put in any kind of application for potential hookup, and these applications can always be withdrawn, then it will be too late. And some of these programs, the grants then are not available. The cap is already met. You can't proceed. And so I think a lot of the concern, the urgency about trying to proceed, is just the reality of the timing. And I would certainly say PPAs can be typically anywhere legally from the 365th day of 6 years, usually up to 20 years. So typically when you sign for 20 years, it's not really signing for 20 years. You can buy out, but it is honestly, legally, you can't buy out before day one of the 7th year.
Right.
So I think it still would be reasonable to have a town meeting. Certainly after reading the letter, I can see the concern about just voting to proceed. But I still feel it's reasonable to have a second public hearing and get more understanding out there. And if there are any details left.
I mean, we have agreed to that, a 4-to-1 vote, that we will have a second public hearing. But again, this letter and the statement I basically made, I don't, it's, I think the RSAs spell it out. They're there for a reason, on multi-year leases, where one board's binding another for a 25-year period. And I think rather than 5 people or even 10 people deciding, that it should be brought before a town meeting, which would be held in March. Okay.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
So I myself am a little confused now, okay? I thought the board just voted to hold it at town meeting, bring this to town meeting.
No, okay, all right.
So, okay.
I'm sorry.
I will then withdraw my vote to have a second,
Public hearing.
A second public hearing?
because I do believe it should go in front of the town.
Okay.
I could make, if Neil would be willing to change his motion to allow a second hearing, just so that we can get more information out to the public. I don't think that's a bad thing, but I just don't, I couldn't support it. And I would support a second hearing to get the information, but I can't support voting on it after. So if Neil would be okay with amending his motion, if it's not too late to do that.
First you have to make a motion
To amend the,
to withdraw.
all right.
And-
Do we have a
So
motion to
is he
withdraw
the only one
vote?
that can make that motion to withdraw it, or
No,
anybody
any-
could?
Any select,
I make a motion that we withdraw the
Previous vote,
previous vote
due to misunderstanding.
due to misunderstanding.
all those in.
We'll get a
we have
second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion now that we, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment before you make a motion to sort of close discussion till town meeting. Once January 1st hits, there'll be a whole new slew of people applying for net metering, applying for the hookup. And if there can be some sort of agreement that we might be able to apply for these things if at town meeting it's approved. That's the only way that this can work out. And there's nothing the matter with drawing. Holderness School did that. It was not approved by the board yet when Holderness School said, yes, go on ahead, solar vendor. If we go with you, we want you to be able to get the best deal you can. Therefore, put in the applications for the grants, put in the applications for the hookup. It doesn't commit you to anything at all, but it makes it possible to do in a timely fashion. And that's been the concern about trying to get the project underway. And I'm sorry I've been out of the loop for a while. I just have not been in town.
Okay. Paul?
Are you saying this time, this opportunity, can you do this opportunity that way? The board can support you going forward.
But contingent
Depending
on a town
on-
meeting vote.
Right.
Yes.
I just need to amend that, though.
Is that-
We would need the select board's signature on the proposed contract, which I provided to Bill today.
But contingent on a town meeting vote.
Correct.
It would be null and void
And you
if,
give them time to check with the attorney on doing it that way?
Sure.
And
Seems
then
fair.
you would be able to put a warrant article together. It'd be a warrant article that would go before the March meeting.
Sure.
You'd be able to continue and get everything that you have to hit, all the window opportunities that you need to hit now. And then we will help you with a warrant article in the fall. And so it won't be binding until
until,
the outcome of the warrant article.
Yeah, I mean, we've just been looking for guidance all along, and so this sounds great.
Communication. I mean,
Well, I mean,
So okay, do you want to just clarify what we're doing?
and we can have better answers. No, and I am going to support the idea that we have a second. We don't even have to call it a special meeting. In 2 weeks, we can just do this again at the next selectmen's meeting.
A public
And make-
hearing, is that what you would call it? Or does it
If you
matter?
want it to be a public hearing, we can make it a public hearing, but
I
that's
don't care what
fine.
you call it, I don't know what the process
just
is.
satisfy.
Right, and then by then, they would have contacted the attorney,
Okay,
and, no, I think the attorney felt this had to be voted on now, and that was it. He didn't realize that you could go forward without a final vote until March.
yeah,
The attorney did not have that knowledge.
And the contractual information that Grace did provide for me today, I think we should share that with, at least all the documentation on the contracts and the current PPA agreement with, that we have on the table.
So the attorney can look at it.
yeah, it's great.
I mean, that may get us into a second round of negotiations on that PPA come March, come market change.
Well,
But, I mean,
I mean-
it's as good as we can get.
I can't speak for the Energy Commission, but you could also approach, the current vendor and see if, rather than December 30th, he might reconsider and do it like April 1st or
We'll have
something.
a conversation with him, that's a good idea, Bill, thank you.
And Grace, I'll work with you and might even have you talk with the attorney.
Okay.
So that we can do this right and get what you need to have done and not slow down your process.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, great.
We're a little exhausted at this point.
Thank you.
Did you,
okay.
we'll be over here.
So we'll
Need another motion?
I don't think we need a motion at this
No,
point.
we
do
don't. We're just gonna bring it up at the next meeting.
Be a public hearing?
Whatever,
It'll just be like tonight. I mean,
closed session.
it'll be,
Okay.
we'll put
And
it,
at
we'll
that
have
time-
it, we'll have it on the agenda and the town
At that
will,
time, somebody, or I'll be your signatory, you'll make the authority of signing whatever it is that they need to go forward.
Yeah.
And,
I'll work with Bill on that.
ma'am,
Or,
Sorry.
yeah, Bill,
you-
John, and, well, Paul, excuse me.
excuse me, what was your
So
question?
sorry, in terms of working to get the contract signed, is that going to happen in the next, before that next hearing?
2 weeks from,
Yeah, I can, well, so I'm the liaison on the Energy Commission, but I'd work directly with Paul,
Right.
just to,
do you need that before 2 weeks, Grace?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So it'd be cleaner if they talk to the attorneys along with yourself.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks from tonight, I believe the next one's 2 weeks from
Yeah.
tonight.
It's the 24th of July.
They will vote to either sign whatever it is that you need signed or make me the signatory of whatever it is that you need signed to go forward.
Thank you.
And easier for me to become the signatory, that way you don't have to wait every 2 weeks.
Okay,
If there's
great.
something else that needs to be signed after that.
Okay.
But is that contract also gonna be conditional that it be approved
Yes,
at the March town meeting?
that's what I'm hearing.
Right, everything should be pending the March.
Because that, I mean,
That's
that
what
was,
we would like to propose if we do have to go to the March hearing.
all right.
And I'll
Okay.
check into whether we need 25 voters to sign it. Because you're a commission, you might not need that. The board and the commission might be able to put the warrant article forward.
Okay.
Then you won't, if not, the easiest thing, we can come up with 25 signatures and do a warrant article that way.
Okay.
Be a petition warrant article. Either way, we'll have a warrant article.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
All right, moving on. Public comments? Does anyone in the public have a comment? Speak up, approach this, give us your name, where you're from.
My name is Terry Carter from 9 Hiddenbrook Drive.
Jennifer Moulton, 10 Hiddenbrook Drive.
So we've written letters, and we have several letters from,
Could you lift that microphone up just a little bit? Okay, thank you.
thanks. We've written letters to the selectmen. We also have letters from neighbors that couldn't be here tonight, from the Loon Lake Road area. I guess I'll just read mine.
Have these been submitted to anyone, or you just brought them here tonight?
I have copies for you.
Okay.
Do you want those now?
Yes, if we could, please. Oh, there's just one copy? All right, okay, I'll just set those there. All right, do you want to read these, or do you just want to
She can
briefly?
read hers, John.
Hmm?
She can read hers.
Okay.
Thank you. I am a property owner of 9 Hiddenbrook Drive. I am coming forward to inform you of my frustrations with a particular resident of Loon Lake Road. We have failed to come to an understanding with this individual, and he continues, even after police involvement, to disrupt and terrorize our neighborhood. Peter Brown of 91 Loon Lake Road, a known drug dealer, has repeatedly been reported to the police for blowing up 50-gallon drums, running his 2 jet engines, which also give off a loud boom as they start, dealing and cooking drugs, burning chemicals and various used fuel oils, shooting golf balls through the woods toward our homes, This list of complaints doesn't include the drug use, assaults, and other behaviors by his visitors. The traffic in and out of his residence on a daily basis is very suspicious. There was an assault that took place at his residence not long ago where a young lady was strangled. I called the police as I heard her screams through the woods. All went silent. I heard 2 bangs like a gun being shot and then nothing. All while my horrified 13-year-old daughter and 15-year-old stepson stood with me in my driveway by my vehicle. The victim refused transport to the hospital and the assailant sped off before police arrived. He was later arrested and charged. My children can't walk to or from the bus stop anymore for fear of coming across a dirty needle on the side of the road, not to mention the questionable individuals that drive on our road. I have 4 impressionable teenagers. I don't want them falling victim to the drug epidemic that burdens our country. Although we have guided them in a good direction, it can happen to anyone. All it takes is one time. I'm scared to death that someone is going to leave that property under the influence and strike one of my children. These fears are real and not to be taken lightly. I don't feel comfortable in my home alone when my husband works away. I don't take walks alone anymore because I'm fearful of what could happen to me. A lot of people are afraid to come forward and share their stories for fear of retaliation. We are being woken up at 11:30 p.m. to 2 a.m. all week long by loud booms that shake our homes and rattle our windows, not to mention the effects on our dogs and our children. I fear for the safety of my children and the safety of others in the neighborhood. He is a danger to others and a danger to himself. We, as residents and taxpayers, have a right to peaceful enjoyment. Our rights are violated on a daily basis. What is done about it? Not a thing. We listen to the scanner when the police are called and hear neighbor dispute come over the radio. We are not being taken seriously by the people that are supposed to help us. Some residents have given up making calls to the police because they don't take action. I was just notified about a summons that was issued in May of this year for a noise violation. One summons out of the years and numbers of calls to the police and fire department. This is absolutely unacceptable. We also have concerns of what is being burned in his residence. We often get a sickening smell in the air like chemicals or plastic being burned. The air fills with smoke coming from his yard. We can't stand to be outside when he does this. Again, not acceptable. Who knows what we are breathing in? He may have a death wish, but we don't, and neither do our children or our pets. He is endangering everyone in the neighborhood, not only himself. We respectfully request the Selectmen of Plymouth to step in and help us. We have done this on our own with no success for far too long. The residents of Loon Lake Road and surrounding roads are sick and tired of being terrorized by this man. That's all I have. Can Jen read her letter?
Do you have something to add? Okay.
On October 31st, 2008, I became a property owner on Hidden Brook Drive, adjacent to Loon Lake Road. My home is in very close proximity to Mr. Peter Brown's dwelling, as I can see his house through the trees on my property. In the beginning of being new to the area, we did not have many issues to start. Eventually, things began, such as a bunch of kids from Mr. Brown's house camping in the woods.
Excuse me. You're getting into non-public matters of reputation, 'cause you're using the person's name. I think the board can invite them to stay and talk
Okay.
in non-public.
Okay.
I just don't want us to get
All right.
into a legal battle.
Not
Okay.
to use their, you have their, everything is in the letter?
Everything's in the letter,
Okay.
correct?
All right.
Stay after. Read the
Yeah,
rest.
so do not use any individual's name. Yeah, just the residence or whatever it might be.
Okay. All right. Eventually, things began, such as a bunch of kids from the neighboring property camping in the woods, starting a campfire on the driest of days when there was no fire warning out. The fire department had to come put the fire out. There have been vehicles that have driven through the woods, parked at a knoll at the edge of my property. A couple of years ago, The individual had a friend over, and there was a girl walking through the woods. I approached her and asked what she was doing, and she said picking up golf balls. She returned to his house. We could hear golf balls hitting the trees near our property and our neighbor's property. It turned out the friend was shooting the golf balls out of a potato gun. The golf balls were coming very close to the windows and houses of our vehicles. The police were called, and the friend was advised to stop what she did. In the last few years, there has been an increase of traffic on Loon Lake Road to the neighboring property. Many of these cars drive way too fast on the road. We have several families with young children, including my own son, who are often riding bikes, walking pets, walking to and from the bus stop, which makes these speeding vehicles dangerous. Although none of the vehicles have approached me, they have approached others, going very slow, making people very nervous as they stare, giving a very unsettling feeling. Some of the vehicles have very loud bass that can be heard at all hours of the night. Some of the traffic to the neighboring property is by foot. They park at the fork of Loon Lake and Chason Road and walk in, either on Loon Lake Road or the old snowmobile tracks behind the Barlow's property. In the last several years as well, Mr. Neighbor has acquired not one but 2 jet engines that are rumored to be worked on to attach to his wheelchair. When these jet engines are started, they make a loud explosion noise. When this explosion goes off, it's enough to rattle the windows of my house, the silverware in my drawers. It sounds like a bomb going off. The police have been called several times to the house when we hear the boom, but the resident denies anything going on, and up till recently when it was confirmed by another neighbor that it was a jet engine exploding. They happen at all hours of the day, but more notably at night. They startle the members, including the dogs. It's an unsettling feeling not knowing if that time of explosion is something else or watching for a fireball. With my house in close proximity, I wonder if one of these explosions could light the woods on fire and my house could be compromised, which would leave me and my family without a home. I found out about the jet engines from another neighbor, which happened to be getting my mail, and I asked him about it. There have also been hypodermic needles found on our road, confirmed by another neighbor. My other neighbor replied he was aware of drug activity of a girl who lived further up the road, and that same neighbor in the same conversation made a direct quote to the other neighbor that he knows where to find it, as well as other acquaintances stating that they have family members and acquaintances who are present or former drug addicts that confirmed that the neighbor's house is a trap house. He has been known to burn garbage, waste oil in his garage, making the neighborhood impossible to be outside due to the smell. This business has gone on long enough. Myself as a resident and taxpayer in the town of Plymouth have a right to peace, clean air, and feel safe in our neighborhood where we live and raise our children. We should not have to live in fear.
Okay. These are the letters that you gave us here?
Yeah, that's copies of the letters.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any comments or? Okay. We have these letters. I think we will get these to the police chief, and we will we'll have a meeting to see what we can do. And sorry you're having to go through these things, but with these letters, like I say, we'll. Oh,
Mr. Chair, because of the magnitude of this and the people involved, the number of people involved, would you feel comfortable if we formed a subcommittee of 2 selectmen, 4 chiefs, myself, and we interview you in non-public,
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
the 2 of you?
okay.
I think there's a lot to handle.
Yep.
And I think we're going to want to hear both sides.
Right.
And,
Okay. So we will. We have your phone number here on the letters, or
I know, we know Terry and.
okay.
we've
All right.
been-
All right, so we will contact you, and Paul and a couple of selectmen and the police chief. We can set up a meeting.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming. Do we have any other public comments? None. Any other discussion or comments?
Committee reports.
Last week, I had a meeting with a number of faculty members at the university from the Business and Economics School and the Environmental Studies School. And we also had Frank Cocciarella from the Central New Hampshire Chamber of Commerce, and we're working on developing interdepartmental collaborative cluster projects, which will enable us to develop plans and structure for environmental studies and ecotourism in Plymouth.
Okay. Brian, did you have anything?
I don't know.
Okay. Alrighty. With no other business, do we have a motion?
Do we need to go to non-public?
You had a letter, didn't you?
We do have a non-public, yeah. So we will, the select board will go into
Before you
non-public.
finish,
Hmm?
you do have to, you need to pick a subcommittee to look into the,
All right. Who would like to attend the meeting?
I'd volunteer.
All right. Bill?
oh, well.
Bill and Brian?
I live in the neighborhood, so I don't
Yep.
want to.
That's good. Okay. The select board's going to go into non-public session in accordance with RSA 93-A:3, 2, parentheses, A through I.
I move that we go into non-public under the RSA.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.